everybody. In today's video I have a 4D eyeball in a jar aquarium, and so I've got 3 little eyes that I made that are in a jar shape that has the liquid in it, so they actually float around with just a couple pieces of glitter. I love this. I think it is just so cool. I'm getting kind of a better feel for making aquarium nails all of a sudden. For a long time I just felt like every time I did one it didn't work out, but now for whatever reason I feel like I've gotten a better grasp on it. So I hope you guys like this as much as I do, and if you want to check out Helen's design, hers is very bloody and gory looking with like this big mound of eyeballs with all kinds of juices around them. So that one is definitely pretty cool as well. So check that out, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
To start this nail, I'm going to begin on a fairly short nail, and I'm going to apply an overlay of Cover Pink acrylic. This is actually the length I typically wear my nails at, so for me this is like super short because I consider my nails to be way shorter than most of them that I like to do. But then I'm going to file this nail into shape with my e-file just to smooth it out. It won't take too much. Again, it's a pretty small one. But now on a second nail tip, I'm going to make a mark where I want to kind of cut off the extra length of the tip, since I didn't want my jar to be quite this large. And then with an e-file, I'm going to carve away that extra piece. Don't be tempted to cut it, because when you cut the plastic tips, they tend to get these white foggy areas, and you want this tip to be as clear as possible. Then cut off a length of a plastic straw, and then cut that in half. If your straw happens to be striped, you can use those stripes as guides, and then lay that straw down on a nail form backing, and then that piece of a nail tip on top of it. So the nail tip is a permanent part of the jar, whereas the straw is temporary as like a form. But you can use them both and have it kind of lined up just like that. So then make a piece of material of acrylic next to that on a nail form backing and let that set up until it really begins to hold its shape. And all of a sudden you'll see it turn matte, and then you're going to slide your brush underneath it. When you can slide your brush underneath it and it holds its shape, then lay that over the top of the straw and over the nail. And as you can see, you kind of get like a neck of the bottle. If that makes sense. You can kind of, manipulate that to get the start of your bottle shape. Get rid of the extra acrylic if you would like to. Otherwise, you can always use a manicure scissors to cut that off later too, depending on what phase of curing your acrylic's in. And then take some more clear acrylic, and you're going to start filling in and rounding out the shape of the bottle. Right now that straw is still attached on the inside, so it's kind of acting as a handle, but then you can go around and just add more acrylic. You want to add a layer of acrylic over the entire nail tip that's there, just to add some strength to it. And then you're also going to want to smooth out the transition from the belly of the bottle into the neck of the bottle. So add some more acrylic basically everywhere. Round it out, smooth it out. After that's set, you can pop that straw out, and then you can fill in, because there's going to be this funny little lip on the inside of where the top of the tip of the nail is, and then you can, or the top of the nail tip is, that sounds better. And then you can just kind of fill that in and smooth that out too, because any of those weird shapes are going to be visible in the end, so you want to make sure that you kind of mask all of them and fill them all in so there's no lumps or bumps or weird stuff. And now we're going to start filing that bottle into shape. I used a combination of hand file and e-file to get the right angles on everything. Definitely I like to start out with a hand file for this just to sort of get it in, but then with an e-file I'm going to carve away 2 little like crevices out of the side, 2 notches out of the side of the bottle so that it fits in on the nail better, and then apply a layer of gel sealer into the inside of the bottle and cure it. And then glue that in place. And you can use those notches as a guide to help glue it so that the neck of the bottle kind of tucks in to the side of the nail. But then secure everything together with some more clear acrylic, so you're filling in every single possible gap on the sides there, so there's no leak points, because that's really one of the big things with aquariums where they go wrong, is that they leak. That's one of the problems. Also, overfilling with glitter I think was a problem that I always had, is I put in too much stuff. But I like glitter, so it's hard to tell myself, to cool it, not do so much. I'm going to add a bottle stopper on the top of the bottle for 2 functions. One, it looks like a bottle stopper in a bottle, so I used a bronze color, but then it also is actually going to prevent any liquid from leaking out of the top of the bottle too. So, kind of work on that. And then on a nail form backing, I'm going to be sculpting a large rectangle of clear acrylic. So this is just like a random shape kind of, and you just have to make sure it's big enough. If it's bigger than it needs to be, that's fine. You just can't have it be too small. Set your bottle on top of that. Then after that's set up, you can take it off and then trim off any extra with your manicure scissors. When the acrylic is mostly set, it trims actually with the scissors really easy. So now on a nail form backing, I'm going to be sculpting 3 circles with white acrylic that are going to be for the eyeballs. So I've got those all on there. Just kind of pat them out and shape them so that they have a nice rounded shape. They don't have to be perfect. Once they're inside the bottle, you actually won't get to see as much detail as you may like because the clarity is not 100%. It's not like it's glass. Think of it as like old glass. And then after you have all of those little eyeballs done, then you're going to need to paint their details on them. I'm using acrylic paint, and I'm going to make 1 green eye, 1 blue eye, and 1 brown eye. So the first shades that I'm doing are maybe not the final colorations, but they're just like a base, and then I'm going to add a little bit of some red veining around the perimeter of each eyeball. You want these to look kind of like creepy eyes. They're, you know, they've been disembodied from their owner. So add those little bits of red bloodshot veins around the whole perimeter of each one. Plus that gives it just like a Halloween vibe. And then with a darker blue and a darker green, I'm going to be adding some more details to the iris. This particular step is completely optional and up to you. If you don't want to go this, you know, in depth as far as detail goes, you can certainly skip these little detail marks. There's no problem with that. I always, whenever I'm painting an iris, I love to use more than one color because it just adds so much, and I personally think it's worth the effort. And then a little bit of gold inside the brown, and then don't forget to add the black pupils to each one. And then after you have it done to that point, you're going to add just a little highlight, and then you'll need to apply a layer of gel sealer over the eyeballs because that's going to protect the paint. Cure those, and then you can place them into the bottle. So just drop each of them in, and then you're also going to want to add just a little bit of a glitter mix. Don't overdo it though. Like I just said, you don't want the glitter to overtake the eyeballs that you just made. You want it to just kind of accent them. And then once again on a nail form backing, I'm going to make the bottom of my vase or my bottle, whatever you want to call it, with some clear acrylic and make a hole right in the middle of it. And then after that's set, I'm going to glue that base onto the bottle with some nail glue so that the hole is over the opening. Trim off the extra. This acrylic is a little bit more set than the others that I was working with, so it doesn't trim quite as effortlessly. It's a little bit more work, and then I'm going to seal in every little, you know, opening that there may be, except for that one hole that's in the very bottom of the bottle. So every little transition from, you know, the front of the bottle to either the back or the bottom, every place that you think water may possibly leak out of it, you want to fill in with some more clear acrylic. And if you start to fill your bottle and you just kind of feel over it to see if it's got any wetness, then find the leak and then fill it and then refill your bottle. So fill up the bottle with a syringe and some water. You can also use oil. It has a slightly different look because the pieces move slower, but I personally like to use water because I think they move a little faster, and I just like it better that way. It's personal preference. Dry it off and then fill in that hole with some more of the clear acrylic, and then once you have it done that far, then go ahead and file this into shape. This is a very cautious procedure because you don't want to cause any leaks in your bottle, so do that filing very carefully, and then highlight and do a little outline around the bottle with a border of white paint. Because this bottle is clear, and then once you apply the gel sealer on it and the whole bottle is so glossy looking, it gets a little bit hard to see where the edges are depending on the background especially, so having that little white outline can really make it nice and visible. Do the same thing around the bottom edge and the top edge of the bottle, just to make everything nice and easy to see. And then just one small highlight on the side of the bottle like so. And then a little bit of a black outline just around the cork and then down the sides if you'd like to take it that far, but I didn't really think that was necessary. Just around the top of the cork is all that's needed there. So then I'm going to apply some matte top coat over the nail itself and then some gel sealer over my bottle so that everything is super shiny and you can see into it and see those floating eyeballs. And then after that, make sure that you cure it. You can also top coat the underside of the bottle like I did. That'll add even more clarity. And that is it. I hope you guys like this one as much as I do. Playing with these aquarium nails just is such a fun pastime. Anytime your nail art can be interactive, I think it's a win-win. So I hope you like it as much as I do. And don't forget to share recreations with me on Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to see them, and I'll see you next time. Bye!